Hi, I'm Barry Grint. I'm a mastering engineer and a co-owner of Alchemy Soho Limited. Well, Alchemy as a whole, apart from mastering for CD, vinyl, we also have a voiceover studio where we will record the voiceover for TV, radio commercials. We do CD and DVD duplication. Rowan and I started the company. We'd worked together at a studio called Trident, which was quite famous, particularly in the sort of late 60s and 70s. The Beatles recorded there, T-Rex, David Bowie. These are all done in Trident. And Rowan and I had worked together there. We got together and set up Alchemy, and then we grew the company from there. The customer base is really quite broad. It's literally anything from the major record companies all the way through to the man who, with his bedroom studio. Alchemy's located in Smithfield. We're just south of Smithfield Market. We're not far from St Paul's Underground Station on the Central Line. Farringdon Station is also very close by. Well, Alchemy's got a very good name in the business, so the customers that have come in through the door. I mean, we've done stuff for Corin Bailey Ray, Razorlight, Snow Patrol. The overview of mastering is that after the track's been recorded and it's been mixed, then we make the final adjustments to the sound to get it the best that it can be. So we're going to be working on the track that you've brought in today. And what we'll do is we'll sit down and we'll have a listen to it, and then see whether I feel that there's anything that needs to be changed. Maybe a bit more bass or some more punch in the mid-range, maybe a bit more top. Just any little tweaks that just enhance the mix as it stands at the moment. You're getting somebody who doesn't know the history. They don't know the problems that have happened in the recording or in the mix or anything like that. So you're getting somebody who's professional and will give you an objective opinion on what you've brought in. We use Sadie, and it's the program that we prefer. And this is where you have to decide between 33 and 45 for the cut. 45 is better technically in the same way as on a reel-to-reel tape machine. The faster the tape speed, the better the quality. So by choice, you'll try and get something cut at 45. But because the turntable's going faster, and you're cutting the groove, you get to the middle sooner than you do at 33. So the track we're doing today is 6.5 minutes, so that's no problem. I know that we can do that at 45. But if we had a longer side, say 2 tracks running 12, 14 minutes, that would have to be done at 33, because quite simply you could not fit that on at 45 unless you cut it very, very quietly, and then you could get the grooves closer together, because the louder you're cutting onto the record, the more the grooves are moving around, so you have to allow more space in between. This is the lacquer that we're going to cut onto. They have a preferred side and a non-preferred side, but what you do is you just give the disc a quick look over just to make sure that there are no blemishes, any little marks. Sometimes you get a blister on the surface, and if you cut through that, then that can ruin the cutting stylus. So you check it to make sure that it's fine. And at the middle of this is an aluminium disc that is then coated with this lacquer coating, and that's what we cut into. It's very, very soft, so that we can cut into it. And the thing is that if there was a stain on here, then that stain would come out on every record that was pressed, which is why it's so important to make sure that it's as pristine as it can be. What I'm doing here is setting the depth of the groove and the space between the grooves. If I was cutting an album, then the groove would be less deep than for a 12-inch single. And the reason for that is that the cutting stylus is, if you imagine a triangle, the deeper that you cut down, the wider the groove is across. And for an album where you're very, very tight for space, you can't afford to have a very deep groove. So you'd cut shallower and take up less space for the groove. And that will then mean that you can cut for longer. The downside of that is, of course, that you also have to cut quieter. And that's why in the old days there used to be companies like K-Tel who'd stick 10 tracks on a side, and those were really quiet, and that was because the side was so long. Whereas now we've got as much space as you'd fit an album on to fit this 6.5 minute track. So I can cut a nice deep groove so that the playback stylus will seat really well in it, and it won't get flicked out of the groove by the amount of bass. And I've got enough space that I can leave a good space between the grooves so that they don't crash into one another when we're actually cutting the track. If you wanted to take advantage of an e-mastering service that we offer, if you can't actually come down to attend a session, you send us the file over the internet, we'll master it, we'll put a sample of what we've done back up onto the internet so that you can listen to it. Once you're happy with the sound, then we take payment via credit card, and then we'll put the whole track up for you to download. I recently mastered a song produced by Yossen Carrera, a couple of dance producers out of Detroit. It was a really good track, well engineered, and I'm really looking forward to working with them again soon. The great thing about e-mastering is that it means that we can work with anybody wherever they are in the world. I've been doing work with people in India. I've also been working with people in the Netherlands and Australia and the US. There are people who just like the British sound. Getting in touch with Alchemy is quite easy. We've got our website, which is www.alchemysoho.com, or you can just email me, mastering@alchemysoho.com.
Absolutely flawless.